Hi, and welcome to Terry Talks Movies. Yep, it's another driving vlog, and I'm going to get going right now. And this one is a crepuscular vlog because the sun is going to rise in about 2 minutes. In fact, it should have risen now, but it didn't because it's behind the clouds. I hope everyone's doing fine. We're doing pretty well here. The car just got serviced, which means that I'm not worried about it crashing or breaking down in any way. I just thought I'd do a bit of a driving vlog, take you around Werribee and a few other places and just groove as usual. Now, I've got a bit of chewy in my mouth, which I just put on the dashboard so that my always slurred pronunciation is a little clearer. We're now heading to Werribee through the back way, past the school, and there are some really nice little murals around, and I hope to cruise past at least one of them while we are on our peregrinations. So yep, it's 6:06 a.m. It's 21 degrees. It was 22 degrees. In fact, it was about 27 degrees all night. But then we've just got a bit of a change through. And we were a bit worried this morning because woke up, could smell bushfire smoke. Now, bushfire smoke here in Australia is a worry. There's a mural on that wall. You probably can't see it. Bushfire smoke's always a bit of a worry. So I went on to the RFA website, which is the site for the Rural Fire Authority, also known as the Country Fire Authority. Sorry, I'm going to cough again. And always check to make sure there's nothing local, because there are grasslands around here. Even though it does look built up and deeply urban around here, there are grasslands. And so fires can spread pretty rapidly, so it's always a good thing to keep an eye on those during the summer months. But it's a Sunday morning, so it's all very kind of previous for most people because they're all asleep because they've been gaming all night and drinking Red Bulls or getting drunk and watching the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight on Netflix, which I'm not normally a boxing guy because it's brutal and nasty, and I've got this dread fear of acquired brain injury, and CTE is of course one of the hazards of being a boxer. I'll talk about that more as we proceed along. Yep, so here we are. We're heading down to the Werribee River. This little dip here goes down to cross the Werribee River. It's very narrow here, which is one of the reasons why when it gets rainy, all of this floods up to about 1.5 meters deep. And the local council sends us Facebook messages to tell us not to try to drive through here, which people inevitably do because they're fucking stupid, and they get stuck. Over to the left, we've got Werribee Park underneath this bridge. Werribee Park's really good. It's a big parkland where the Lit Festival is every year. It's a festival of lights that they have at night time. And the cool thing about Werribee Park is it was designed by First Nations people locally. And so it's a very unusual shape for a park. It follows the curve of the river. And again, we're crossing the Werribee River here and heading into Werribee itself. And it's all these festivals of artists who work in light. And it happens every year. It's really groovy. It costs us absolutely nothing because the council pays for it. And you've got to be a bit strategic about when you go to the Lit Festival, because if you do it on a Saturday night, there's going to be about 1 million people there and lots of screaming kids. I am going to film the Lit Festival this year and put it up on the channel, and Middle Aged Geek Girl may well film her part of it as well. So we're now on Senate Street, which is the back street of Werribee. Now, the reason I'm taking you to Senate Street, and I'll move over here, is if you look at that big building on the left there, it's got the painting of Bunjil, the eagle symbol of Melbourne and the protector of Melbourne. And they put Bunjil up there. There's a big sculpture of Bunjil in Melbourne as well. But there is the great big Bunjil, which is painted on the side of a hotel building, one of the few in Werribee. Now I'm going to have to fang it here and get ahead of this guy and pull over, because I will be turning to the left. But yeah, the Bunjil painting, there's actually an art walk you can do around Werribee, and they have an online audio thing you can put on so that you can enjoy it coming up past the RSL club. People in other places don't know what the RSL is. It's the Returned Servicemen's League, which was the club. There are tons of them around, and it's a big organisation. It was the club for returned servicemen after the various wars, and it still exists. They have poker machines. They also do a free sausage sizzle on Anzac Day, and raise funds to help veterans and things like that. Under this is an enormous tree here, and we're heading into Watton Street, which is the main drag of Werribee. And I'm going to cruise slowly on Watton Street. There are all these plane trees here, which are an introduced species that drop their leaves every year. But when spring comes, they've got these furry seeds that the plane trees have. And people who are sensitive to, getting hay fever, these things are crazy for them. They really you hit people's allergies very hard. So yeah, we're heading down here. There's a few good cafes along here. Heading down toward the restaurant section. And it's a bit awkward for me here because I don't have the window open and I don't have the air conditioning on. Because there's a KFC. Because I want to keep the noise down. Now along here there was a bank where we used to have a mortgage, and we went in to pay off the mortgage when we had an unfortunate windfall. Now I'm not going to explain what that means, but it is unfortunate. And they tried to get us to open a line of credit to keep the debt going. And we were very insistent that we wouldn't. And we were very pissed off with them about that. And so I hate that bank. And here's the cultural centre and library, which is being renovated. And I'm going to chuck a Yui here and go back down the other way, because why not? There's no traffic. So there are lots of restaurants along here and a few nice pubs. As you can see, there's an Indian restaurant. There are tons of Indian restaurants, which is fantastic. And over on the left here, we've got the Wolf on Watton, which is one of the best breakfast places around. A little bit expensive, but very, very nice food. There's a reason I'm chucking you. I'm not just doing it for the hell of it. There's lots of burger places, ice cream places along here. Very good Vietnamese pho over a few of these places here too. And I do like a good bowl of pho occasionally. Guy collecting shopping trolleys. Yeah, so this is Watton Street. This used to be a country town, Werribee. Wasn't connected to Melbourne as a city, and people used to come here for the weekend back in the day. And it's a historical town. Over on the right of this intersection is the Historical Society, which has all of the collectibles about Werribee's history. And I'm just going into this cul-de-sac, because if you look here on the left where it says Cash Converters, that's actually an old cinema. And that cinema is going to become a cinema again after Cash Converters finishes its lease. The local council bought it, and they're going to do it up as a cinema and try to revitalise this area in the same way that the Sun Cinema in Werribee revitalised Werribee. So I'm looking forward to that. I'll actually give you a better look at it there. The yellow bits there are part of it. But yeah, it's I'm looking forward to that, to see what they do with it, because the more cinemas, the better. And there are too few cinemas in this area. In fact, my local cinema, the multiplex up in the plaza, which is being renovated at the moment, should be open by Christmas time. And I might do a bit of a vlog heading down there to see a movie, because Village, the group of cinemas, the cinema chain that's a part of, are parts of the cinemas where I can get free tickets under the Australian Film Critics Association pass that I have. So looking forward to that. So we'll head up here. Now, do I want to chuck a Yui here? I can't, because that thing's there. Oh, bugger it, I'll go the other way. This may be a slightly long vlog, or I'll cut away from things, but, you know, I'm just cruising. I'm just enjoying myself. So we'll go the long way and have a bit of fun. Up on the right, yes, there is a painted water tower, but I'll do that for another day. And we're heading out of Werribee now, and yep, I will go this way. I will go down here, not down Wattle Avenue. Oh, picked the wrong one. I only had 4 hours sleep, so bear with me. And we're going to be driving into the sun for a little bit while I take you the back way to Werribee South, because I can. And I don't think that the coffee shop's going to be open there, which is disappointing. So we're going to head down Snades Road now, which is this one, which has a whole bunch of agricultural things in it. The CSIRO, the Commonwealth Scientific and Industrial Research Organisation, has a few different buildings here and a few different complexes. And there used to be a quarantine station all around here. I'll talk about that in a sec, but it's straight ahead. There's a new cop shop. But yeah, there used to be a quarantine station here. So if there was any anthrax or anything like that around, it was always all the animals that were had contracted anthrax were brought to the quarantine stations around here, which is why a lot of it looks like farmland. And in fact this is a shortcut through to other parts of the industrial thing. There's a CSIRO Food Innovation Centre over on the right, where they invent food. Not even sure what they do there, but probably cloning hamburger buns or something like that, or cloning hamburger patties, sorry. And yeah, there is a little bit of smoke in the air, because it's not quite as clear as it should be. And there's all of these ravens running across the road as well. As you can see, the sun is coming up, which is reassuring, because if it didn't, I'd be incredibly worried. And yeah, so a lot of area around here is, as you can see, open fields and agriculture. Less so than they used to be, because they're putting up a lot of houses. But this area is not really suited to it, because it's very low-lying land. And also, there are a whole bunch of native grasses that are preserved in these areas, and a lot of smaller frogs and other native creatures that have to be preserved, so the land does get preserved, because we care about our little frogs. It's quite a nice morning too. I love it when it gets this warm. Yesterday was about 33 degrees, and I don't know whether it's because this year I am taking blood thinners, but when it gets really warm, like 30 odd degrees, I'm really comfortable now. I'd feel, I don't sweat a lot with it. I'll sweat if it gets hotter and more humid. But with the dry heat, I don't sweat a lot. And I kind of like that. Downside of that, of course, is if it gets cold, I feel the cold more. But what are you going to do? It's either get older or die. And I will definitely choose getting older every day of the week. So yeah, we're just going to cross the freeway now that goes between Melbourne and Geelong. And we're going to go on the back road down to Werribee South. Because why the hell not? I'm using the old GoPro on the dashboard in case you were wondering. Because I didn't really want to put the ZB1 Mark II on the dashboard anymore because it keeps trying to focus on the windscreen rather than the stuff beyond the windscreen. And that causes blurry imagery, as you saw on the night vlog that I had a while back. So I'm much better putting the GoPro on there. It's a kind of old GoPro that we got years ago. We picked up 2 of them a long time ago. But they're serviceable. They do the job. They're not as, the sensors aren't as big as the sensors they have on the more modern ones. And it'd be lovely to have the modern ones, but the budget does not stretch to that. Now, coming along here on this back road, occasionally this time of the morning you'll see rabbits. May not see some rabbits. I'll slow down if I do. But there are rabbits along here. And rabbits are an introduced pest to Australia. And they were introduced by a guy down in Geelong in the 1840s because this guy liked to shoot things. And so he got a whole bunch of rabbits imported from England and just let them loose. And the rabbits became a menace all across Australia because of that. And the guy has not been looked kind upon in the history of Australia because they take over the habitats of native species. They're a menace. They'll eat pasture dry, all that kind of stuff. And they breed like rabbits. So bunnies, we've had a war against rabbits for the best part of a century. They introduced diseases for them like myxomatosis and other diseases. See, this looks very country around here, but it's actually on the urban fringe. And this is not a well-maintained road. It's called Hopper's Lane. And so rabbits, not a great species. They did help a lot of people during the Great Depression in Australia, where people would go out and catch and hunt rabbits because they were a source of protein, and people, particularly homeless people, didn't have any other way of getting meat. And so they used to call rabbits underground mutton because of that. And still, if you go to, say, the Victoria Market in Melbourne, I don't know if they do it in South Melbourne, but they definitely do a Victoria Market. You can still buy rabbits to eat. And I like a good rabbit. Once upon a time, when I was a teenager, I had a job working in a delicatessen in Liverpool, New South Wales. One of my jobs was to stuff and bake rabbits. So you'd put the stuffing in the guts, in the body cavity of the rabbit, and then you'd curl it up into a ball and tie it up with twine and, like sew off the cavity and bake them in an oven. And we'd sell them in a delicatessen. They don't do stuff like that anymore. But that's what we did. And one of the reasons I got the sack eventually was I burned the rabbits. But the rabbits were fantastic. Very lean meat. So if you're having rabbits, sometimes you want to put things like bacon with it or wrap the rabbit in bacon so that you get a little bit of a fat content. But nice eating rabbits, slightly gamey, but really delicious. And you can also do them in a stew with like a red... I did bake rabbits for myself years later when I was living in Sydney. And I made a perfect red wine jus out of the juice from the rabbits and some reduced red wine. Oh, fantastic. Really a nice eating meat. Sharing that kind of thing. Haven't had breakfast yet, can you tell? So yeah, we're on the road down to Werribee South now. And that way is where Point Cook is and Campbell's Cove. One of the first videos I did in this series was down along the area of Campbell Cove. But now we're heading through the agricultural area, the market garden area, towards Werribee South, because I haven't done Werribee South this time of the morning. The golden hour, which isn't all that golden because of that smoke haze we've got. Apparently we're going to get some rain through later, which should knock the smoke out of the sky. But we will see. Got to go home after this and get myself some breakfast. Don't know whether I'm going to go crash for a few hours as well, because I don't function well on 3 or 4 hours sleep. And I've got a video to organise where I'm reviewing 3 movies that just came out in the cinema. And I've already been working on that before I came out here. And yeah, it's a busy day, but I've got to be well rested for it. I love this area. I just love the market gardens and the way the crops change different times of the year. They get about 3 crops a year. It's really, it's really fecund land. I mean, it's volcanic soil, really rich soil, terrific stuff, and they can just keep planting things. You do use blood and bone fertilizer, but it really is one of the more fertile areas in this part of Australia. And I just love seeing the different seasons. I wonder if the K Road's closed still or not, because I'll come back that way. As I said, I'll probably edit some of this down, but I may not. I just love cruising around and chatting. So we'll see how that goes. Now, there's these bumps too as we come over some canals here. I like taking them over speed at about 100 kilometers an hour, because you do get air in the car. If you do it at about 100 kilometers an hour, the car actually lifts off the ground just that little bit. And I'm not particularly a rev head like a car nut, but I don't mind occasionally having a little thrill in the car as I cruise around. So yeah, still got that smoke on the ground, which is a bit unfortunate. We're also watering a lot of the plants over to the left because of the heat we had yesterday. And yeah, late springtime is fantastic in Melbourne. It's going to get very hot this summer, like 40 plus degree hot. But I can handle that. It never phases me. We're now heading into Werribee South and Wyndham Harbour. We've been here before on a vlog, but again, it is crepuscular. It's early in the morning and I thought I'd cruise around just this time of day when there are a few people around, because there are so many places I love, but I won't go there when there are a lot of people around. I've successfully avoided COVID so far, but I just don't like having to navigate through the traffic of tons of people. And these are all lovely little apartments down by the waterfront. Wouldn't mind living in one if there was big enough storage space for all of our shit. But this part of Melbourne isn't popular because it's in the west, and the west is considered déclassé by the people who live in the east. Now, if you see me wobble here, I'm going around speed bumps where I can. There's the mini golf over there on the left, and the cafe there is really good. There's 3030, a nice restaurant built out of shipping containers. And this thing here is where you get money for empty bottles and cans. Also, the fishermen out this morning, which is terrific. Apparently, there's good fishing around here, according to my sources. A guy on there called Archie comes down around here sometimes to fish. And there you can see the marina full of boats I couldn't afford. But yeah, it's very peaceful here, and particularly summertime, it's nice to just come down here and chill. But you want to do it when there's not a lot of people around. So a weekday is pretty good usually. But weekends it gets very busy, notwithstanding the fact that this is a Sunday morning. It's doing okay at the moment. And there are free barbecues over there on the left, which is one of the great things in Australia. If you go to parks, particularly around here, and we've got a few of them, they've got electric barbecues available. So you just press a button, the hot plate heats up, you cook your sausages and your whatever, your tofu, whatever you want to have, and just have a public picnic with a barbecue. And it's all provided for nothing. There are a few places around Melbourne where they used to have, you'd put 20-cent coins into them to make the barbecues go, and then they get cold again, you'd have to put another 20 cents in. Kind of like a slot machine that delivers heat instead of money. But that's less now, because who has coins these days? In fact, there is talk that Australia's money is going entirely digital in the next 5 or 6 years. We'll see whether that happens or not. There are upsides and downsides to it, but we will just see. And now we're heading around toward the mouth of the Werribee River. And this is where people store their boats. It's big there. And there is a little fishing place. You can go just here. There's a track that leads off to the left. And you can go fishing there. In fact, there's a couple of people fishing down on the beach at the moment, because it is quite quiet. I actually did a walk along here one day. And in these little bushes here, there's little places where you can park individual cars. And I walked past it, and there's a guy smoking crack in his car, which, not a good lifestyle choice, but he did pick a very scenic place to do it. It's a 5-kilometre walk from the harbour around to the mouth of the Werribee River. And it's a lovely walk, particularly this time of day, because you get the water in the east of us. And I'm heading south right now. But you get the sun rising in the east over Port Phillip Bay there. And it is quite calming and peaceful and delightful. But again, because this is considered a working class area, it hasn't been spoiled by rich people, which is a virtue. And I kind of like that. There's still places for families to have picnics and things like that, and you're not being hassled by the ladies who live around here. But I will cruise down towards the boat landings at the mouth of the river. As I said, I've taken you around here before, but not at this time of day when it is quiet and peaceful. Yeah, there is a lot of smoke, because straight ahead you normally see the mountain range called the Yuyangs. You can't see the Yuyangs now because of that bushfire smoke. We get used to it. By the way, caravan park over on the right here, which is filling up with holiday campers. So I'll just cruise down here and circle around. There's more barbecues down here, by the way. You can have them. And this is the mouth of the Werribee River. So there's lots of pelicans and things who nest on the other side of the river there. There's a mouse right there. And there is a raven eating fast food. But I'll just do a slow U-turn here. And the sun's in my eyes. Seagulls and things. So yeah, there's the mouth of the river. In fact, I can see a pelican over there. It's really lovely along here. But most of the people who live in the catchment area around here just don't know about it. Yeah, I'll head down to the boat ramp here. All of these parks have just been renovated too, so they're all ready for summer. And there's your boat ramp there. It's just wonderfully calm and peaceful. And there is room to park a lot of boats here. Yeah, so this is my hood. And the local amenities, which is fantastic. That speed hump nearly tore my nuts off. Okay, back against. We'll get back up onto the main road and head back, and I'll see if I can head around the K cliffs, and if I can't, I will find another place. And I did my usual thing of not bringing a bottle of water with me while I'm doing these vlogs, and so my whistle needs wetting, and I don't have anything to wet it with. And I'm not inclined to stop at a fast food joint on the way home either, because I'm trying to cut down on my salt. So yeah, there is actually a road that goes on the other side of the river, but I don't know whether it's closed off for public access or not. And I will do an exploration one day and see if I can get down there, because the other side of the river is kind of interesting and there are no houses there. Yeah. So heading out of Werribee South now, back up through the market gardens. This is the good life. This is La Dolce Vita, without a me, unfortunately, but still the sweet life of just cruising around, looking at things, chatting with people all across this clay and granite planet, and just sharing what I see and what I know. Yeah, Werribee South. Very cool. I wouldn't mind living down here. I could get easy access to all of the resources I have living where I live. And you get that beautiful sunrise over the ocean every day. Or over the bay, sorry. The embayment, actually. Because Port Phillip Bay isn't a bay, as I said before. It's an embayment, which means it's a bunch of bays made up of bays, making a larger bay. But yeah, I'm not sure what they're growing there, but it looks like it might be kale. And I don't mind kale. A lot of people shit on kale as a food, but I'll buy kale occasionally and stick it in the air fryer for a minute or two with a little bit of salt and oil. And kale chips really hit. They are yummy as hell. And they're a little bit of a healthier snack than the usual shit I ate. I think we've got cabbages there, though I'm not sure. I'm not an agricultural person. I'm kind of plant dump. But, yeah, they're all growing. And there's no fences between the road and all of these crops. So technically, if you're hungry and you had a car, and if you have a car, you can afford petrol, which means you can afford food. But technically, you could nick some vegetables if you were so inclined. But I'm not. Don't recommend it. But I like the fact that they don't have their farms fenced off. It just feels more open, it feels more inclusive, it feels more neighbourly for that not to happen. So we're heading up here. I'm going to see if I can chuck a left up here when we get to K Road and head up past the cliffs and just enjoy that. And by the way, I've got to stop saying yeah or and yeah when I'm doing these vlogs, because not really eloquent when I say the things like that. Road closed. So K Road is still closed while they do it up, because it was in fairly, to use a technical term, shitty condition. And so if they're doing them up, great. That of course is a road that goes down to the zoo and Werribee Mansion and all that kind of thing. So we're avoiding that and heading straight back. So I think I'll end the vlog here as we drive back through the market gardens of Werribee South. Thanks a lot for watching. Usual things: like, subscribe, leave a comment, You can donate to the channel through Patreon at patreon.com/TerryTalksMovies, or you can do it through YouTube itself. I hope you enjoyed this one because it's been a bit of fun, and I have enjoyed it, just cruising around as the sun rises. What's the time now? 6:41, so I've been doing a lot of talking, and this one may well be a long vlog, but we'll see. I'm going to pull over now, turn off the camera, and get on with my day.